Howdy, friends! We're glad you're here. We'd like to invite you to stick around and hear about how a couple of old fogies like us started hosting our own podcast.
So relax and enjoy as we tell you our stories. But please, stay to the end so you can learn how you can stay connected with us and come back for more rides with Mawmaw and Pawpaw.
For this initial podcast, we thought it'd be fun just to explain the genesis of Catch a Ride with Mawmaw and Pawpaw.
Yeah.
And really that begins with who Mawmaw and Pawpaw are. So, who are we?
Well, I'm Penny.
I'm Charlie. We're just a set of hip grandparents who enjoy meeting new folks and helping them out any way we can.
So wait a minute. Come to find out, we were told by our kids using the word hip actually makes us less hip. What? Mind blown. I know. Had no idea. So, what we've decided to do is listen to the younger generation and pick up on their lingo. And what we have learned, that a lot of them like to use the phrase 100%.
100%.
100%. So, we have decided to use 100% about 80% of the time. And about 50% of the time, we do it correctly. So,
If we're lucky.
Yeah, I think that makes us pretty hip.
Yeah.
So, moving on. We've been married for 30 years.
I think that's really hip.
Yes, couldn't get any hipper. 100%.
In those 30 years, we've been able to raise 3 wonderful children
And
who all live on their own now, by the way.
that's true. So we're empty nesters. And 2 of those beautiful children gave us amazingly beautiful grandbabies. 3 of them and 1 on the way.
And we just discovered that one that's coming is going to be a boy. Congratulations,
Yay!
Shelby and Levi.
So excited. So how did we get from Charley and Penny to Mawmaw and Pawpaw?
That's a good question, especially if you knew us after our first grandchild.
Yes.
She would never
No.
call us Mawmaw and Pawpaw.
No, she's very, very proper. She would have called, or she did. She called us grandmother, grandfather. It was so cute.
She's always been very proper.
Yes, very
Such
very
a little grammar Nazi. Her mom would be so proud.
Oh, yes. Well, at age 2, you could give her a cup of tea and have a conversation for a good hour and a half easy. No problem.
And that was really a struggle for Penny because she's always wanted that grandma and grandpa nickname.
Yes, I mean, it's like a part of tradition. When you become a grandma, you get a grandma name. My mom and dad were Mimi and Poppy, and my grandparents were Nani and Popo, and his were Nana and Pa. I mean, it's a thing, right?
Right. Well, luckily our second grandchild came along and finally gave us the nicknames that Penny so desperately wanted.
Yes, and that's how we became Mawmaw and Pawpaw.
Right. So although our oldest child owns the naming rights, officially we're Grandma and Penny, Grandpa Charlie.
Yes.
We thought it fit this environment a little bit better to just say we're Mawmaw and Pawpaw.
Yeah, it fits our niche. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta admit, Mawmaw and Pawpaw, it's pretty catchy.
It sure is. So, how did this hip married couple start a podcast called Catch a Ride with Mawmaw and Pawpaw?
Well, especially when one of those is severely technically challenged.
Oh, and for the podcast people, we're all pointing at Charlie, Pawpaw.
Yeah, I'll take that. 100%.
100%.
100%
He does
technologically
not.
challenged.
Yeah, no good with technical.
So how did this happen? What started this?
I think DoorDash. What would you?
Yeah, that's a perfect place to start. I love the story about how this got started.
Okay, so we started going to church in Buckner, Missouri. The church is called First Christian Church of Buckner, Missouri.
Oh, let's stop there for a minute.
Okay.
Let's tell them a little bit about our church.
Okay.
We'd love for you to come visit us. It's in Buckner, Missouri, which is a small community.
Mm-hmm.
It's on Hudson Street.
Yep.
It's the only Christian church in the little town.
Yep. Our services are on Sunday at 10:30, but if you come early, you can have coffee and donuts.
Right.
We have Sunday school at 9:30.
Right. Oh, and there's a new event that we're just starting. It's going to be the first Friday of every month.
Mm-hmm.
You can come and, what's it, start at 6?
Yep, 6
They're
p.m.
calling it, what's the...
Live mic night?
Yeah, something like that.
Mic night?
Mic
Something
night.
like that? Yeah.
It's going to be just an excuse for a bunch of Christians to get together and fellowship, have fun.
Have fun.
With a karaoke machine.
Yeah, but you don't have to just sing. If you're not a singer, you can still participate. You can read poetry.
Some people are planning to do stand-up.
Yeah, stand-up comedy. Tell your testimony.
Right.
You know, just come enjoy. Have fun.
Yeah, that's enough about the church. We just
Okay.
want to invite you while we had the chance. Point is, we're going to church in Buckner, Missouri, and what happens there?
Okay, so we meet Joanne. She's the lady that sits in front of us in the pew. Her and I, got connected, and we worked on a few projects together. And then she just asked me one day if I had ever thought about doing DoorDash. And I thought, well, shoot, no. I had DoorDash delivered before, but there's no way I'm going to get out in the weather and deliver food. No, not happening. But she kept at me, and finally I gave in and was like, okay, I'll go with you. Let me see what it's all like. And man, I had a great time. Oh, I loved it. I had such a good time. I invited Charlie to go along with me.
Surprisingly enough, I thought I would hate it. We had a really good time.
It was like geocaching.
A little adventure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, just like geocaching.
Yeah. And if you've ever done geocaching, it's like, I know I pronounced that wrong, but if you ever done one, it's like a live treasure hunt, basically.
Yeah.
And it's completely free.
Right. It's a community that you can find at geocaching.com. This isn't meant to sponsor it. They're not sponsors. We're not getting anything. It's just letting you know it's good, clean, family fun you can do outdoors. It's basically a community that you have a bunch of little caches. They can be all kinds of various sizes, but they hide them in various places all over the world.
Yeah.
I guarantee you there's some in your back.
Oh, you would be surprised how many is around you. Yeah. And you just use the GPS to find the cache. And in the bigger ones, they have little trinkets. And if you take an item, you leave an item. So your kids could walk away with some little treasure, Like one of our kids walked away with a jar full of sand from Hawaii.
Right. And we found right here in Kansas City.
Yeah. It was the neatest thing. So anyways, it's an adventure is the point we're trying to get
at.
Right.
It's kind of it's similar in that every time you get an order, you're going to a new place to pick it up. You're learning about new restaurants, and then the real adventure starts. You have the delivery. Now you gotta find the address that they
get. Finding the address.
Sometimes that can be that's
an adventure all on its own.
Yes.
Yeah. And you never know, what kind of a restaurant you're going to pick up, what smells you're going to have in your back seat. I mean, so we did DoorDash for a little bit, or I did DoorDash for a little bit, and then I got introduced to Uber Eats. And by that time, Charlie was coming along with me periodically just for fun. We even did it on our anniversary one night, delivering food. That was our anniversary. But anyway, so we did Uber Eats for a little while, and or let me back up. I'm sorry. We were introduced to Uber Eats. Right. And we decided to do a comparison between Uber Eats and DoorDash. And we did a fair comparison, 2 days. We did 5 hours one day, 5 hours another day, same location, same time of day. And
in the end, we kind of we liked Uber better, I think. Yeah. Overall. We still use DoorDash sometimes, but... And
we're going to have a future episode that kind of goes over that breakdown in a little bit more detail, kind of tell you how we got through all of that. But anyways.
First, tell them a story about the first time we tried to use Uber Eats. Because we were still using DoorDash.
Right, because we were loyal to DoorDash. I mean, that's where we started.
So even though we said, okay, we'll try this Uber Eats thing. We tried to do it at the same time we did DoorDash.
We had both of them open.
On the same device.
Yes, on the same device. They both went off at the same time. And at first we were like, oh, cool. Because they were both McDonald's. Easy smeezy, right?
Two for the one trip.
Right, exactly. Except, right? But no. We had one McDonald's on one side of Kansas City. We had the other McDonald's on the completely other side of Kansas City. And, of course, the deliveries were nowhere near each other. But we still made it happen. I mean, but all of our customers ended up being happy. But, oh, man, we were so full of
pretty anxious moments.
A lot of anxiety. But also, to back up a second, I needed to put a shout-out to Miss Joanne because she's the one who really started all this, inviting me to DoorDash. And she also was the one who gave me all the tools needed to do this properly. Right. We have an amazing rating, I think, between our profiles.
Oh, and that's all due to her tutelage.
Yeah,
for sure.
For her training. She showed me exactly how to treat our customers, and she showed me correctly, I think. So, way to go, Joanne. Thank you so much for getting us started on this. So now, we've done Uber Eats for a little while, right? And get this. After doing Uber Eats, they qualify us to pick up people.
Yeah. Somehow Uber decided that we could start hauling people around.
Go figure, right? So I thought to myself, shoot, we can deliver people just as easy as we do food, right? And we don't even have to stuff them in a hot bag. Which, come to find out, they don't even like that.
Who knew?
Yeah, right. Who knew? No, we've never done that, I promise.
Well, not a hot bag.
No bags. No bags whatsoever. So anyways, so the first time we decided to pick up people, Charlie wanted to go with us to make sure it was safe for me picking up strangers and whatnot.
Well, I mean, everybody's heard the horror stories.
Well, true.
Luckily, we've never experienced them. Pushing 1,000 rides, and we've never had
not
that
one bad.
experience.
Well, okay, time out. Pause. Fair enough. We've had 3.
We've had
3.
None of the horror stories. Though,
none of the horror stories, but 3 that
more to come. We'll tell you more
you'll
about
learn
that
about
in
those
future
3
episodes.
in future episodes. You will. But anyway.
Point is, I went with her. The idea was I was just going to go one time just to make sure I felt comfortable with Penny giving rides to strangers.
Right. And we were not expecting the adventures we were going.
Yeah. It was such a great time.
Oh my goodness, you wouldn't believe we were entertaining, we were connecting with our riders.
We had all kinds of sharing going on between each other.
Man, yeah.
Like we had one young lady that was telling us about how comfortable, how much more at ease she felt taking an Uber by herself when it was a couple of grandparents.
Yeah, versus just some single guy picking her up.
Right.
And we've heard that a lot.
Yeah, that's
since we've
common
started
theme
this.
now, for guys and gals.
That's true, actually. Even some of the men have made a comment that it's just much more relaxing and entertaining, even to have 2 of us versus the one. So yeah, I mean, and then
we've also had a bunch of inspiring opportunities that we've shared with each other.
This is the first night, remind you.
Right.
The first night we had a young man that made the comment that he was really inspired about how we've been married for 30 years.
Right. It gives him kind of hope, he thought.
Yeah. Man, we never thought our marriage would be an inspiration to someone.
Right. There was a time when we thought that was the last thing we thought somebody would be inspired by us.
Right. And to hear something like that, that was a really great feeling.
That's quite the blessing. What really helped was I think we finally got solidified on, like, this is the direction we're going after having one ride that very first night with a lady named Nancy.
Yeah, I believe Nancy was definitely what solidified it for us. So I'll take over and tell you about Miss Nancy.
Tell us about Nancy.
Yeah, so Miss Nancy is just a sweet little lady. She's an elderly lady that we picked up in Liberty, Missouri on the square, I believe, some pizza place. And before we even got there, keep in mind, this is our very first night. Before we even got there, she called us several times, and we ignored the call at first because we didn't
recognize the number.
Yeah, we didn't recognize the number. It said spam, and we didn't want to mess up this ride that we were on, because
we don't know how to get back on the app or anything.
Right,
so new.
Right,
anything.
Yeah, and learning this app was really fresh to us too. So anyway, finally we answer the call, and it's very, very clear that she's embarrassed and she's needing help. She's trying to make sure
she didn't want to come right out and say, I need extra help.
Right. But we assure her, don't worry about it. We'll be there. We'll take care of you. Not to worry. So we show up, and lo and behold, she does need help. She has a walker. She has a pizza box. She has a wreath. I mean, there's no way she was going to be able to get all of that to the car, in the car, without some sort of assistance. And of course, Charlie had no problem with it. He got out and took care of her. So then she gets in the car and proceeds to tell us how awful of a day she's been having. I mean, it just gets worse. So she apparently had broken her hip. And
not that day.
No, not that day. But she had gone through therapy and gotten off of her walker. And that day, her doctor put her back on the walker. So she was feeling really defeated and down and just depressed. She was having a bad day, needless to say.
Right.
And we just... Man, I instantly felt awful and wanted to help her in any way we can. And my first thought was to give her some inspiration, try to lift her spirits. And I simply told her, try not to think of this as a step back. Think of it as a step forward. Because if you were to continue your progress without your walker, you'd be building it on a faulty foundation. And now that you're going to be continuing your progress with the walker, it's going to be productive. And, eventually you'll be off of it for good. So, we just gave her a little advice like that. And then we shared the story about how Charlie woke up completely paralyzed on one side of his body and how he had to go through therapy and his setback.
That was a lot of recovery.
Yeah, a lot of recovery. And of course, that's another story look for in the future because that is definitely a big part of our testimony with that experience. But anyway, so we're just sharing. We're just connecting with her and sharing our stories and our experiences and, just giving uplifting advice, and it paid off because when we finally showed up, of course, we helped her in the house. We helped her get all of her stuff in there. But before she got out of the car, she leaned forward and she said, "You know what? Your visit with me was exactly what I needed, and it really lifted my spirits." And boom, man, we were taken away. We looked at each other. We were like, "Yeah,
this is what we want to do."
Yep, This is what we want to do. Now, keep in mind, not every ride has been that impactful and that meaningful, but even the ones that weren't, we still had amazing conversations.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we still made some sort of a connection, one way or the other, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing that we discovered, without even knowing it, that this is what we wanted to do. Because if you'd asked me before we started this journey, I'd have laughed at you if you told me I'd be driving people around in my car.
Oh, yeah.
But in the end, we discovered, you know what? We're able to serve people by entertaining them as we're getting them where they want to go.
Right.
And we're also at the same time connecting with each other, and they're sharing and we're inspiring each other. It's such a great time. If you're thinking about doing it,
oh,
please.
Highly recommend it. Oh, yeah. And, I mean, to top it off, you know, we get great quality time with each other. Mm-hmm. We meet amazing people, and we get paid. It's like a win-win-win for us.
Right.
I mean, and it came at just the most perfect time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you couldn't have been any better timing.
We were really needing something. We didn't even know it at the time, but turns out we really needed an alternative way to make money right about that time.
Yeah, and something that was flexible, like Uber, that we could do whenever we wanted, wherever we wanted.
Right. We just got back from Buffalo.
Yeah.
Penny had gone with me to Buffalo. I went up there to work with my dad on a movie. For those of you that don't know, my dad's a wrangler in the movie industry, film industry, movies and TV. He's
they use his horses and stuff in movies.
So his horses and wagons and saddles and all that.
Right.
We help supply that.
And he's been doing that with his dad all his life. I mean, never full time, but I mean, when he was a kid, it was full time.
Well, full-time for a kid.
Right. But as an adult, since we've been married, he's never done it full-time.
Right.
He has gone out there and helped, throughout different movies and whatnot. But anyways.
Dad's getting ready to retire, and he's kind of encouraging me to
take over the reins.
And there's some other opportunities, and we talked about it, and we decided, we want to keep doing this, because Penny went with me to Buffalo, and she was able to DoorDash while we were there. Still do all of her own freelance design work that she does.
Right.
And I was able to go do these movies. The only problem is that those gigs are kind of spread out.
Right. We needed income in between movies.
Right. We still have bills in between those movies that we gotta pay.
Right. But we didn't want something that would tie us down, that we couldn't just up and leave.
Right. You don't want to commit to something that you know you're going to be leaving.
Right. It just doesn't feel right.
So this gig economy. Working in this gig economy seems perfect for somebody like me, like us.
Right.
And let me pause there a minute and talk about your freelance design work.
Okay.
What were you going to say?
I was just going to mention that's what I do.
Yeah, Penny does freelance design work, so she's pretty much able to do whatever she wants, whenever she wants.
Wherever.
But I want to brag on her a minute on this freelance design work, because she's really got a gift. She's very talented. She can take others' ideas, put together these visual products, and in the end they're like, oh my god, that's even better than I imagined. It happens all the time, and I'm really proud of her being able to do that. She takes she designs people's logos and things like that. She's the lead designer for a Kansas City based company that is a veteran services company with their
nonprofit charity organization. Right. They're called Team Fidelis. Their mission is to help end the growing epidemic of soldier suicide.
Right.
Wonderful group of people. If you're a veteran, I highly recommend looking them up. Team Fidelis.
She's done a lot of work with them that's resulted in, like, she designed for the PGA.
Yeah, they had a local Midwest section where they were wanting to support the military, and so I made a logo had with the number 6, and it was, they have your 6, they have your back.
Right.
Is that what that means? Yeah. With a military theme, obviously.
Right. So she's done all kinds of stuff like that, and then the main way she earns a living is with an Etsy page that we have. She's got a bunch of different products that she's designed herself. And she sells everything from hats and T-shirts to mugs, wall art, things like that.
Pillows. You name it.
Check it out.
Yeah.
If you go to Etsy, go to Etsy.com and look for our page. It's Joyful Creations DPD.
Yep.
No spaces.
No spaces. And each design is basically has a little bit of a testimony of my personal walk with God. So you not only get to see the wonderful designs, you get to learn a little bit about me and my testimony.
Right. And what's really cool about her designs for me is that they're a unique way to spark a conversation. This is a this is an example. This is a hat I wear a lot. It's a Penny's design. If you can see that, it's Fishers of Men. And this is literally a lure for mankind, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But by wearing this, I hope that someday somebody's going to come up and ask me about it and give me the opportunity to share the gospel.
Yeah, by saying, hey, what's a Fisher of Men?
Right.
Let me tell you.
Or even if it's, hey, where'd you get that design? Well, let me tell you about this design.
Yeah.
Something. And she's got all kinds of products like that I wear, her T-shirt designs, and any design she does, I'll get some kind of wearable material so that I can use it as a way to spark a conversation.
Right. So, now that we have all of these, external things that we're doing.
Yeah, we decided to try Uber, or the whole gig economy. Uber,
right.
DoorDash, all those things we were doing. We said, well, what if we just expanded the amount of time we spent doing it to see if we can pay our bills? Right now, it's just a side gig, something we do for fun. Right. Now we're like, well, wait a minute, maybe we can use this and actually use it to pay our bills.
Yeah, because we really enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun.
Right. So we tried it full time.
Yeah, we tried 1 week. We set goals. We met those goals.
We exceeded them.
We did. We exceeded every one of those goals.
And what was really cool is we were able to meet our financial goals while we were still spending time together.
Yeah. Yeah. And while we were doing that, we were meeting even more amazing people.
Right. More hours means more people in your car, means more friends you're meeting.
Yep, making more connections, more deeper connections.
Right.
And then our stories that we were sharing started involving our past adventures,
right.
our past rides.
Yeah, we realized that Penny likes to entertain everybody
I love
telling stories.
So
and they love it too.
Oh yeah. So I tell everybody I have the gift of gab, and I thoroughly enjoy using that gift. Yes, and our writers, they know that.
Yeah.
They'll tell you that about.
Discover.
Yeah, they will. They do. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's all right. So we started realizing that what's really cool is these stories that Penny's sharing with current riders included past riders.
Yeah.
And I think those people started picking up on the idea, like, wait a minute, I might be the story in a future rider's ride.
Yes, which
but
they
what was
were,
really
probably.
cool was then they started asking questions like, well, whatever happened to Nancy?
Yeah.
And we were like, we would love to know that.
Yes, I would love to stay connected with you guys.
Right.
That would be amazing. Because one of them was pregnant. I would love to know how the baby is.
Love to see the baby pictures.
Yes.
So it'd
be so amazing.
We keep making these connections, but then losing those connections.
Yeah, every time we
kind of
get
heartbreaking
out of our
sometimes.
car, it's like we'll never see you again.
Right. So we started looking for ways that we could stay connected with our riders.
We thought of Facebook, which we do have a Facebook page now.
Right. Keep listening, and we'll give you some more information on how to stay connected with us.
Right.
But in the meantime, the idea is that we started coming up with ideas. What are we going to do? How can we do this? And we started talking to our other riders about it.
Someone suggested a podcast.
Right. At first, we completely rejected that. I don't know anything about a podcast.
No.
Like I said, don't have any technological knowledge.
Nope.
And Penny's is all in design.
Pretty
we don't
much.
know how to do podcasts. I don't even barely know what a podcast is.
Right.
But then we met a writer who was just starting a podcast himself.
Mm-hmm.
Josh.
His name is Josh. Yep.
He goes by the handle The Riot.
Yeah, his link will be below. We'll post it.
We'll post a link to his podcast. It's pretty interesting. He's a new truck driver that chronicled his entire journey becoming a truck driver.
From beginning to end. It's pretty neat. It's pretty
neat.
But what's
really fun for us at the beginning, the way we connected with him to begin with, was he asked for an Uber ride. We came to pick him up, and he had an impossible mission for us to help him with.
Yes, it was so exciting. So he gets in our car, and he explains, well, we figured out he's a truck driver because we picked him up at a truck driving parking lot.
Stop.
So to be fair. So anyways, so he's from out of town. He's not from Kansas City.
He's from Louisiana.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's right. And he stops over in Kansas City and goes out, in Kansas City to see the nightlife. And at the end of the night, instead of ordering an Uber like us or a Lyft, he just got into a random taxi.
Well, like an independent taxi guy.
It was an independent taxi guy, but still just... He sees a vehicle, says taxi, gets in. Okay?
He got home okay.
He did. He did get home, but he had no idea who was taking him home, other than it said taxi. Right? So now he wakes up the next day, and his phone's gone.
And it's his brand new iPhone that he uses for his podcast.
Yes.
All his new material is still on there.
Right. So he hops in our car now, And he has his phone with this little pin. He's like, I need to go to that pin. That's where my phone is. And we're
he
like,
explains to us what happened.
Yeah, he tells us the whole story.
And we're like, oh man, this is awesome. This is like
a mission impossible.
Right.
And as soon as I say that, all of a sudden in the back I start hearing do 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 do.
Yeah, Josh was getting into it.
It was
We had
awesome.
fun.
I loved it. So we're going on a mission now, and we're heading to this little dot, and we're following our GPS to this little dot, and we make it to that little spot, and lo and behold, there's the van. He recognizes the van.
And it does have a sign in it that says taxi.
It says taxi. Little sign says taxi. And it's parked in front of this one house. And we think, let's try it. He goes up to that one house, knocks on the door, knock, knock, knock. Lo and behold, the guy who owns the van lives in that house. And
eventually he comes out.
He does come out. And bottom line, we found the phone. Mission complete. Mission complete.
Accomplished.
Yep. So,
on the way back, Josh goes into detail about starting a podcast.
Mm-hmm. And he's the one who actually inspired us to just do it.
Right. That was his message.
Yeah.
His message. And actually, as we were going through trying to learn what equipment we needed and what software and exactly how to do a podcast, that was one common theme I kept getting from all these different people is just do it.
Just do it.
Just do a podcast. Learn as you go. You don't need anything special.
Yeah.
You can build up the quality of your programming as you go.
Right. Learn as you go. So here we are. Catch a ride with Mawmaw and Pawpaw.
Yeah. So we want to meet new friends.
Right. Of course.
Every ride, every opportunity we have to meet someone, that's a new friend.
Right. And we want to share with one another.
Right. Those new friends, we want to be able to interact with them continually.
Right.
And continue to inspire each other.
And share wisdom.
Right. We love the idea of being Mawmaw and Pawpaw, being Grandma and Grandpa, helping folks get where they want to go, and being able to be somebody you can bounce ideas off of from, another generation or different perspective.
Right. And mainly just stay connected.
Right. You're going to get this common theme as we go through our ideas here. The main theme is we want to stay connected with each other.
Stay connected.
Which brings us to our core values.
Right. We have 4 of them.
Yeah. When we came up with Mawmaw and Pawpaw, we sat down and determined there's 4 main things we want to accomplish with not only our everyday service, but especially with this podcast in particular.
Right. And that is connect, entertain, share, and serve.
Right. Then we took the time to sit down and actually define what those terms and what those values mean for us.
Right. And connect, basically, obviously, is connecting with our community, keeping engaged with our riders from our past, from now to our future, to everyone listening to us right now.
Right.
Staying connected.
Right. And of course, we also wanted to entertain.
Right.
We love to make it fun.
Yes. I love telling stories, obviously. Mm-hmm. And of course, we'll laugh and joke and...
Occasionally we sing.
Yes, sometimes. But generally we just like having a good time with each other.
We're trying to make it more enjoyable, the time we spend together.
Right. Whether it's on our podcast or in our car. Right. We want to have fun.
So those first 2 core values are pretty simple to me, pretty cut and dry.
Right.
We're connecting, entertaining. But then sharing and serving gets a little more complicated, a little deeper. And I think it'd be interesting to sit and talk a little bit about what those 2 values mean to us.
Okay. Well, for me, when I first thought of the word share, first thing that came to my head was fulfilling the Great Commission. Mm-hmm. Because that's what it means to share. I'm sharing God's love. I'm sharing the truth of God's love with others. And that could be whether I'm talking about the gospel or personally with my actions. I want people to experience God's love just through how I treat them. You know?
I like that.
And that's a great way for me to share, I think.
Right, okay. I like that answer. I kind of looked at it from a little bit different perspective. Whenever we determined that sharing is one of the things we wanted to have as a core value, one of the things that struck me was that sharing is more about the interactions we have with each other. Yeah. In other words, I can share an idea or a thought with someone, but it's not really sharing unless they reciprocate and they react to it.
I can see that.
So I love your idea about it being about fulfilling the Great Commission, because one of the things I can share is the gospel.
Right.
But the difference is, it's not really sharing if I just throw it out there to somebody who's not ready to hear it.
That's true.
I want to be able to have a community of people where I can talk about this and even get deeper into what the gospel is and what it means to me, and I want to hear what it means to others.
Right.
And
have
all
an
these
open,
different
honest
ideas.
Conversation between the 2.
Exactly, an open and honest conversation about everything.
Right.
You're not supposed to talk about religion and politics, apparently. But that's one thing. Those are two things we really enjoy talking about.
Right, yeah.
So, please, comment below. Send us an email. All those different ways to connect with us that we're going to talk about later. We want to hear from you. Let us know what you think.
I can't wait to hear from y'all.
Right.
So now we got serve.
Yeah, this is a really detailed one that we really love to talk about.
Yeah.
It's how we serve one another. The service we want to provide to others. So when we first sat down and talked about service as one of our core values, what did service mean to you?
Helping folks.
Yeah, we'd love to help folks.
Yep.
We really get a great sense of accomplishment and pride when we help others.
Yeah, even if it's in a small way to help with their goals or make them even feel better in some way. I mean, it's such a wonderful feeling.
Right.
It really is.
I agree. And it seems like we really get that sense of accomplishment a lot of times when we're just driving.
Yeah.
Driving folks around.
And we're hoping to have that same sense with the show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're hoping to serve others through this podcast just as we serve others
through our Uber driving. Yeah. Yeah.
So, like when we drive Uber, of course, we're helping folks get home.
Or to wherever they're going.
Right. But we also serve them in a lot of other ways.
That's true. Hopefully we provide them a good example by providing kindness to them.
Right.
You know?
We also like to listen and give advice when they're asked.
Exactly. And, we got to entertain.
You sure do.
Yes, I do.
And hopefully we continue to inspire and be inspired by others.
All the while we're chatting and, what do you know, connecting.
I know. Here it is again. Like I said, you're going to keep hearing this.
Yep.
It comes full circle. We're connecting.
Yep.
We're hoping to provide some of these same services to the entire world through this podcast. The idea behind this podcast was just to take those little things of service that are making us feel like we're doing what we're supposed to be doing on a small level with our Uber driving and expand it as big as possible.
Right. Even getting folks home.
Yeah, I love this concept. We stumbled across this idea and we had to write it down as we were discussing all this.
Right.
Because one thing, I can't remember how we said it exactly, but it's essentially we can serve others by driving them home. But our real service that we're meant to provide is to help folks find their heavenly home.
Right, and what a service that is. Which reminds me, we have a perfect design for that called Fisher of Men. Your hat, actually.
We talked about this earlier.
Yep.
And this is just one of the products, like I discussed earlier, that can be that spark or that inspiration for others to get them talking about these issues.
Right.
You can find all these products at Joyful Creations DPD.
Right.
But one item I really want Penny to talk about is this line of products she came up with that are in direct line with this idea of our desire to serve one another.
And that is serve one another in love. It's one of my most favorite designs.
One of our favorite verses. It comes from Galatians 5:13.
Yep. And with this particular design, we have it in different products. For instance, we have it in a pillow and a canvas. But then we also have it in hats and mugs. And on the mugs, we have different professions, yes, in that design. So the word love is spelt out with images made from that profession. So for a salon, for instance, we've got the scissors and the combs and whatnot to spell the word love. So that's
and every profession has their own
right.
pictures used. And it's
right.
a really neat idea Penny came up with. I probably helped her somehow.
You're serving one another in love in just what you do every day.
Right. So this is a really important value for us and one we had to include right off the bat.
Right.
This product line, not only, I want to get a little preachy here since we're talking about how this came. This is a direct quote from the Bible. Like I said, Galatians 5:13, to summarize, is essentially saying that the freedom we find in Christ we should be using to serve one another in love, because the entire law is fulfilled in keeping this one command: love your neighbor as yourself. So we can fulfill the entire law, do what Jesus commanded, simply by making our focus to serve one another in love.
Amen. And we so enjoy doing it too.
Right. So we've talked. Hopefully you now know what our podcast is intended to be about.
Yeah, all the nuts and bolts. Who, what, where, when, and why.
Right.
Yeah.
You know who Mawmaw and Pawpaw are.
That's us. Charley and Penny.
And as promised,
oh,
those of you who made it to the end,
yes,
we've just decided we're going to
tell you how to stay connected.
We're going to discuss how to stay connected with each other.
Yes, come back for more rides with Mawmaw and Pawpaw. Here's how. podcast.
Right. This first number one idea is this very podcast.
Yeah.
We plan to do this every week. We're going to upload about a half hour to an hour podcast episode.
On Tuesdays.
Hopefully by 5 Central.
Yeah. We'll upload regularly onto all the podcasting hosting services like Google Podcasts,
Stitcher,
Spotify.
Just look for us, search for us. Catch a Ride with Mawmaw and Pawpaw.
Spell Mawmaw and Pawpaw.
Yeah, Mawmaw and Pawpaw. Mawmaw's M-A-W. It's a little unique. And then Pawpaw's P-A-W.
Yeah. And of course please keep try to follow us on all of our social media sites.
Right, we've already got a Facebook set up. You can just search Catch a Ride with Mawmaw and Pawpaw.
If you like our page, or please like our page to stay connected. We will post there
Updates,
and stuff.
It's one way we're going to keep connected with folks.
Yes. We've already started uploading videos on our YouTube page. How do you find our channel?
Just subscribe. You can find us at Catch a Ride with Mawmaw and Pawpaw.
Right.
And you look for the little icon. Same little logo that we do, and then subscribe. Click the bell notification so that you can be notified and stay entertained.
Right, with our videos. And of course, we're working on a website. It is a work in progress. It's ridewithmawmawandpawpaw.com. Eventually, everything we have will be on that website. But until then, if you want to reach out to us, you can send us an email. We set one up through Gmail. It's the same as our website, ridewithmawmawandpawpaw@gmail.com.
And if you'd like to support us, you can just visit our Etsy page and buy some of our products. It's the easiest way to help us.
Yeah.
Our Etsy handle is Joyful Creations DPD. Remember, no spaces in any of that.
And all of these links that we mentioned we'll have posted below.
Right.
Yeah. So.
And then finally, if you'd like to connect with us in person, you can just try to book a ride.
Yeah, maybe they'll send us to pick you up.
However, we do have plans to expand in the future.
Oh, we do.
Yeah, so you can connect with us those ways now.
Right.
But in the future, we hope to spend more than just Tuesday with you.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have 3, 4, 5 days a week.
Have more YouTube videos. Maybe some live content.
Right.
Live
That'd be
shows.
cool. We could do some live speaking events.
Oh, yeah. Like going to different churches.
Right.
That would be some fun.
We want to do some Bible study.
Yeah. A kids' corner for the littles.
Maybe do some couples counseling.
Oh, my goodness. 30 years worth of sharing we can give. I mean, it's been pretty easy for him. I'm a quite amazing wife, and humble. Right, babe? See, he knows.
We also have plans to visit other cities.
Yes, so comment below. Let us know where you're from. Right. Maybe we can come and see you.
Yeah, hopefully we can connect with folks all over the U.S. by doing this.
And also, Facebook, check our social media announcements to find out when and where we'll be in your location.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So please comment below on any ideas you have for any other content we could do and any other ways we could connect with folks one-on-one.
And currently, we do live in Northwest Missouri, so we do drive Uber in Kansas City. So, you can never know.
Yeah, we'd love to pick up somebody that saw us on YouTube or podcast before we met them in our Uber.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool. So tell your friends about us.
Yeah, and be here next time to catch a ride with Mawmaw and Pawpaw.
We'll be there to pick you up.